I seek unanimous consent to enter into the record of the House the document styled Unwelcome in Niger, the interim report from Congressman Matt Gaetz on the U.S. crisis in Niger. Mr. Speaker, I come to the House floor this evening to expose a cover-up in the African country of Niger. This cover-up exists to conceal the humiliating failures of the Biden administration in Niger, throughout Africa, and throughout the world. You'll learn of the victims of this cover-up, the 1,100 U.S. troops who are currently stationed in Niger, functionally stranded by a Biden administration which cares more about saving face than saving their lives. Our troops in Niger have been pleading for help. They've sent intelligence reports and letters stating that they are rarely getting safe water. They can't get diplomatic oversights to receive medicine, fresh troop rotations, or basic supplies. They have no mission. And the local authorities are becoming increasingly hostile. The current government of Niger has called the U.S. presence in the country illegal. Why have these pleas not been heard? It is because U.S. Embassy Niger has been blocking the intelligence. I fear as we speak, the conditions may be forming to create another Benghazi-style attack.
In this video, we take a look at this senator who makes this submission in the United States of America concerning U.S. military men who are stuck in the country of Niger. Now, over a few months ago, the government of Niger, that is the military junta, has ordered U.S. military to be taken out of Niger. So they are stuck over there since negotiations have not been yet finalized at the moment. Now let's listen to him as he makes this submission. I will come back here and talk more about it. But before that, if you haven't yet liked the video, kindly like the video and also subscribe to my channel. Let's watch the video together.
So how did we get here with 1,100 American troops stuck, thoroughly unwelcome, in a country where we have invested more than $500 million U.S. taxpayer dollars? It all began when Biden and Blinken chose Niger to be the centerpiece of their Africa strategy. Blinken even visited the country in March of last year, saying, quote, "Niger is an extraordinary model, a model of resilience, a model of democracy, a model of cooperation." What a difference a year makes. Just a year and a day after those remarks, the democratically elected government of Niger was replaced by a military coup. And the United States military literally trained the coup leaders. I asked General Langley, who runs AFRICOM, why this happened, why so many coup leaders are trained by our service members. And he said, well, Congressman, training people to overthrow their democratically elected governments is not in our curriculum. But the results are staggering and embarrassing. In Guinea, Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, and other countries, there were coups, and in each of those coups there was one common element: U.S. training for the coup leaders. Now, the coup government currently in charge of Niger wouldn't even meet with General Langley when he went to talk about our base. The Prime Minister literally slammed the door in his face. You'd think if we trained you to overthrow your democratically elected government, we could at least get a meeting. But instead of a burgeoning pro-U.S. sentiment, we now have the coup leaders we trained turning to Russia as their preferred security partner. So where does that leave our 1,100 troops, our Americans? I did not serve in the military. I represent a military community, and I hear that these senior enlisted service members at a U.S. installation abroad, they're a big deal. They're kind of like the mayor of the installation. And the senior enlisted service member at Air Base 101 in Niger wrote a letter to Congressman Dusty Johnson. Mr. Speaker, I seek unanimous consent to enter this letter into the record. Dear Congressman Johnson, I am writing to express my deep concern regarding the actions taken by U.S. Embassy Niger, particularly involving the Ambassador Kathleen A. Fitzgibbon. The recent events have raised serious questions about the conduct and decision-making of these officials, and I believe Congress must address these issues. As a service member deployed to Niger, Africa, I have noticed that the embassy intentionally suppressed intelligence information from the ground, forced collection elements to maintain the facade of a great country-to-country relationship. They failed to be transparent with U.S. service members deployed to the country. They gave a pretense that things are being worked and that it's above our level, all the while diplomatic oversight clearances for U.S. military aircraft were purposefully not being approved by the country's military government as a political bargaining chip to entice the U.S. government back to negotiate their withdrawal. Since July 23rd, the day of the coup d'etat, the Americans deployed here have not been able to perform their primary mission. They've been told to sit and hold. It's clear that the country of Niger does not want a permanent military presence in their country, and they have informed us that we need to leave. At this time, there are approximately 1,100 U.S. service members in the country who are essentially being held hostage from returning to their homes and to their families, while the State Department continues with failed diplomacy by not communicating with the country of Niger on what the withdrawal plan would look like. Additionally, the government of Niger is not processing visas for U.S. service members for entry into the country, which is especially concerning because the U.S. forces were scheduled to end a 6-month deployment early this month when relief forces arrived. The embassy failed to share any of this information with decision makers at any level of the Department of Defense regarding this, further complicating our ability to conduct the swap of personnel. These actions have deeply troubled me and many others in the community at home, as well as the service members deployed here with me and their families back in the States. Our diplomatic and defense representatives need to uphold the highest standards of professionalism and ethical conduct, especially in sensitive regions like Niger. The actions taken by the embassy officials not only reflect poorly on the United States, but also have potential implications for our bilateral relations with other partner nations and the safety of our personnel in this region. When I became aware of this letter, my office conducted a number of interviews which confirmed the claims made by the senior enlisted official, and he signed his name to that letter, which we have entered into the record. And we've done those investigations. We've learned that the top public health official says that in the month of May, they are going to run out of medicine in Niger. And it's worse than that. Our partner countries, Italy and Germany, you would think they would help us facilitate medicine and supplies, but they won't even help transport needed materiel to our service members because they're worried about being expelled from the country. And if that isn't worse, the fact that we've got Russia as the preferred security partner now means there are Russians behind the wire at Air Base 101. We have Russians on our base somewhere. That would never happen. But the only reason it's happening is because Blinken and Biden are humiliated that their plan failed, that they poured $500 million into this country where now we're being thrown out by the scruff of our neck. Well, Joe Biden and Tony Blinken's failures should not have to be visited on the 1,100 service members there who are there fighting for us, wanting to do patriotic duty, and are being held hostage, and they are being stranded. And I will fight for them, and I will fight against this administration that would use our service members as pawns because they can't get their act together. Just because Biden and Blinken can't say oops doesn't mean we should abandon our troops.
Welcome back. So in this video, we saw the submission by this senator who spoke extensively and a lot about military leaders who are stuck in the country of Niger, and they need some essential supplies like medications for malaria, blood pressure, and other essentials, and have not yet been able to receive these essentials or have not even been able to return back to the country of the United States of America. But I think I like the second man who asked a question that what is the importance of investing all these monies, taxpayers' money of the United States of America, in building military base or military camp in Niger? What is the issue about Niger that should bother the taxpayer in the United States of America? And I think this is a very important question to ask because, first of all, I don't know why the United States will send its military, its soldiers to Niger and other African countries, let alone to talk of building a military base in these African countries. Every country has its own responsibility of defending against itself, dealing with its own problems and challenges. So, as military of the United States of America, I think there are a lot of issues in the United States of America that they need to pay attention to rather than to leave the United States and then come to Africa and build military bases there. What is the essence of building a military base in Niger? It is all to exploit the resources of these African nations. And now these leaders are not taking this anymore. These military juntas are overthrowing the democratically elected government who are in bed with the West and are now trying to forge a way for development for the African people. So I don't know why the United States would invest over $1 billion in building military bases in Niger. Why would you pour such an amount of money in there? Because you know the evil motive that you have at the back of your mind. He mentioned that the US government's Africa strategy did not work. What African strategy are they talking about? So it means you have a strategy to apply in Africa in order to be able to exploit resources from Africa. That is simply the case. He also mentioned of Iran, who are in agreement process to mine uranium from Niger. And he says that they have pumped about $500 million into the country of Niger and they are not getting anything out. I never knew Niger was a business venture for them to pour money in and expect to recoup some profit out of the country. Now, Niger now is in agreement with countries that are ready to work with them, go by the agreements with them so that they could have mutual benefits, not countries who will go there to exploit them. I believe in the case of Iran, they will be able to sit down properly with them so that as Iran mines their uranium, it will be to the benefit of Iran as well as to the benefit of the people of Niger. The West and the United States in particular has exploited Niger and other African countries for a long time. And I think this is the time to draw the curtain down. These countries in the Sahel region have led this cause, and I think all African countries need to do same so that the continent can develop, so that Africans can also have their place in this world. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Share your thoughts and opinions about this in the comment below. Don't forget to share the video to your friends and your family. Also, don't forget to like this video and then don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Just look at the subscribe button down here. Click on the subscribe button. Click as well on the notification bell. And I'd like to see you again in my next video.